and just ask if they are hiring. You never can tell. They might just hire you on the spot, because I've seen people that got hired on the spot. So I don't know if you know this already, but if you get a job on campus, your hours are not registered, meaning you can work for as long as you like. Provide lunch for you. Interestingly, the tip that you get sometimes outweighs his salary at the end of the month. There are some of those jobs whereby the employers file for their work sponsorship and helps them to get their PR even faster. Another question that you might be asked would be, can you work any day of the week or just weekends? Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. If you're new, hi, my name is Yemisi. On this channel I create lifestyle videos. I'm sure that you'll find so many contents that will allow you settle into Canada as an international student, and yeah, join the family. If you're a returning subscriber, you guys are the real G's. Welcome back to the channel. Thank you guys so much for all your messages in my last video. You guys are amazing, and I see all your love, I see all the support, I see everything, and I am immensely grateful. Today I am going to be sharing with you high-paying part-time job for international students that can help you offset your living costs, offset your tuition fees, and just allow you have savings here and there. I'm going to break it down into jobs that are online jobs, physical jobs, that's in-person jobs. I'm also going to explain to you some of these jobs that will require certification, and somewhere along the video I'm also going to share tips here and there and likely interview questions that you might be asked for this job. So if this is the kind of content that you love to watch, then consider watching till the end, and don't forget to subscribe. Okay, if you don't know already, we are in the spring/summer season, May to August. That is the season when international students usually work unlimited hours. You can work 2 jobs, 3 jobs, as much as your energy can carry. Last year November, there was an immigration rule or policy that allowed international students to work more than 20 hours. So that's been in effect since last year November, and it's supposed to end this year, December 2023. Hopefully it doesn't end though. So a lot of international students have been making big bucks. Yeah, a lot of money. But right now, I know that people have been curious as to what kind of job can I do when I come to Canada. And some of those jobs that I'm also going to explain, they are seasonal jobs. Some cut across different seasons. You might want to make more research on that, but of course, I'm going to identify some of them for you in this video, okay? So stay tuned. Before I move on, quick disclaimer, I am not an immigration consultant. I just share videos based off of experience and, you know, all of those good stuff. By the way, I did mention that I live in Regina, and I recently graduated from the University of Saskatchewan, where I studied my master's in public administration. So that's for the new audience. Okay, so we've taken all of those things out of the way. A lot of blue-collar jobs apparently tends to pay higher than white-collar jobs, and I think it's because most of these jobs are physically demanding. They also require like skilled certifications and the likes. Some of the tips that I'm going to share that is worthy to note is that you should make sure to tailor your resume to the JD, that's the job description on the job posting. I know people have reached out to me. I also got someone reach out to me recently. The person is currently in Regina and is trying to get a part-time job in order to supplement his or her earnings and be able to have something to pay for the bills and the likes. That's the same thing that I told the person. Make sure to tailor your resume to the job posting. So if they say they require people that are very analytical, people that are able to understand basic financial principles, you know, just make sure that you include those descriptions also in your resume, because employers usually use this ATS, I can't remember the full meaning right now, but if I remember, I'm going to put it on the screen. They use it to screen applications such that they don't have to go through all of those applications in order for them to find their desired candidates, or in order for them to like cut down to the number of people that they would be interviewing. So you want to tailor your resume because they use keywords for those screenings. Another thing that you should also know is that ensure that you apply as often as you can. Like, just take it as your daily work. If you don't have a job, you should take your job application seriously. Apply for as many jobs as possible. If you're already here in Canada, you can also walk down to different stores and ask them if they are hiring. A lot of times you will see the "we are hiring" post on their signpost outside. So just go in, ask them. I find that a lot of stores have this signage on their door outside. So when you see those kind of signages, whether or not you see it, to be honest, just walk into those confectionery stores or grocery stores or fast food chain stores and just ask if they are hiring. You never can tell. They might just hire you on the spot, because I've seen people that got hired on the spot, so that's possible. There are some of those jobs whereby the employers file for their work sponsorship and helps them to get their PR even faster. This applies mostly to the fast food chain stores like Tim Hortons, A&W, Starbucks. All of those stores, they help people to get work sponsorship. Some of these jobs will require certificate to work. I mentioned that already, but those certifications are not usually so cumbersome or so stressful to get. Provinces also have different minimum wage, so the amount may vary, because I'm going to be giving you the average wage per hour that these jobs will usually give. For these jobs, the salary varies from province to province and also from city to city, even within the same province. So yeah, taking that out of the way, I hope that you noted those things down, because they're very important for you to know. I'm going to go straight to the kind of jobs that you can apply to. The first one here is care jobs. I made a video recently talking about care jobs. I'm going to link the video somewhere for you. Make sure to watch it. But minimum wage for those jobs are usually $18. In fact, I have a friend that earns up to $21 as a carer here in Saskatchewan. If they're paying $18, $20, $21 in Saskatchewan, then you can imagine how much they'll pay in bigger provinces or bigger cities. Okay, so care jobs are high in demand. A lot of international students tend to do this job. You can either work morning shift or night shift. This is what a lot of people do. If you're the type that loves to take care of people, then you want to consider this job. Trust me, they are one of the highest paying jobs for international students in Canada. The second one would be bartender jobs. This one is minimum wage job, but the tips that they get, you don't even want to know. There's someone that, you know, I kind of know through someone that is currently working as a bartender, and even though he gets the minimum wage as his salary per hour, the tip that he gets sometimes outweighs his salary at the end of the month, because tipping is a normal thing in Canada. It's very legal, and people just tend to show their appreciation to you just probably because they enjoy your service or they enjoy your personality or whatever. So that's how bartenders or people that work in restaurants generally tend to make their money. So people overlook the minimum wage that they get paid, but they look at the brighter side, which is the tipping. That's something that you might want to consider. The third one on my list, and I have a long list: Uber, Skip the Dishes, DoorDash. So this is subject to approval, as I heard, and it also depends on the car model that you have. So there are some car models that they are not going to approve, so they tend to approve from a car that was made maybe not too recently, but like maybe a few years ago and not too old. So they look at that, and also there's usually an approval process, a wait list for you, and you must have a driver's license. So this kind of job, if you do not have a driver's license, you can go ahead and do your driver's license, but it's gonna take you a while though, maybe a year, but of course after that 1 year you get it. But I'm talking to people that need this job like ASAP. Before you come in, make sure to have your driver's license. I've done different videos on that, so want to watch those videos. Things to get before you land in Canada. Driver's license is one of those important things, because aside even Uber, Skip or DoorDash kind of jobs, even being a truck driver, you need it. And just even working in some organization, if you're working with the post office, sometimes you need to have a driver's license. So yeah, so I won't say it's a must, but it's necessary. Depending on the city. Uber, Skip the Dishes, DoorDash. So let me explain it. Uber is usually, just like we know across the world, Uber is a type of transport service whereby you can move people from place to place, just pick people up here and drop them at their destination. But also we have the Uber Eats, we have the Skip the Dishes, the DoorDash, whereby you can link up with restaurants and then you tend to deliver food to people as well. And during bad weathers, they make tons of money, because not only do people tend to tip higher, but also the amount that people pay on those apps also tends to go higher, because I mean they can't drive outside themselves. That's why they decided to use Uber Eats or Skip the Dishes or DoorDash. So yeah, that's something that you might want to consider. Being a security guard, it's very easy for you to stay back in your home country and say, oh, I don't want to be a security guard, but trust me, it's not that hard. Although one of the downside of this job is that you tend to stand throughout or tend to like move around in the store and the likes, but you can be paid between $15 to $20 on the average, and it can also be more depending on the city. Another one here which I really love is a chef. Not like I like to cook, but I find it very fascinating, you know, when you're doing something that you love to do and you're getting paid for it. So if you're the type that loves to cook, you should do this. You should consider doing this, because the average wage for this job per hour is usually like $24 and upward. It can be a little bit less, but should not be below $20. That's what I've seen. Okay, so this is something that you might want to also do. Another one I have on my list will be dog walker, pet sitters, and this one is usually a seasonal job during this kind of season, when you can walk your dogs and you can walk your pets. If you're the type that enjoys taking care of pets, enjoys, instead of babysitting, pet sitting, this is something that you also want to look at. And depending on the family, an average wage that you should be paid per hour should be $18, and it can also be more. Another one will be being an admin assistant. If you're the type that loves all the general administrative duties, office tasks, filing, managing calendars, typing, this might be something that you want to do as well. The salary wage per hour is usually on the average $21 and above. Another one will be gym instructors. In Canada, there are usually a lot of gym centers. Sometimes you even see gym centers in your building. You don't have to pay extra for it. If you're living in one of those, posh buildings, you tend to have gym centers there. But usually some people like to have personal trainers, and so people like to go to the gym centers just because they feel like they might be more serious with their training and all of that than if they are indoors. So if you're the type that loves to gym and loves to be a gym instructor, you might want to do this, although you have to get certificate for it because you don't want to injure anyone. So this is one job that people tend to do as well, and on the average you can be paid about $17 upward, depending on the agency or the gym center that you work with. Another one will be sales job. Just as we have in all parts of the world, you can be working with like any store, any organization, and aside your basic fee, which might sometimes be low, you earn commission on your sales, like depending on how many products you converted to sales that month. So that's also something that you might want to do. And sales job are usually between $15 to $25 an hour. Another one will be painters. This one, my friend and I saw it one day and we're like, is it not just to paint? On the average, they get paid about $35 an hour. Yeah, you heard me right, $35 an hour. So if you like to paint, there are usually like skilled trainings for this kind of occupation, and then you get a license or certificate for you to be able to practice in Canada. So they usually pay $35 an hour, and depending on how many hours that they tend to spend in your house painting, you have to pay for it. Plumbing job as well falls under this, usually about $35. I've seen a posting that was saying $45, $50 an hour for plumbing. They pay well. One thing I've also realized is that in Canada, people do a lot of DIY. So things like this, they tend to do it themselves. They tend to learn it over time, themselves and the likes. But if maybe an organization needs something like that, they have people that they go to meet. So you can enroll in an agency as well, like enroll in an organization so that you are called upon and you could even be doing another job. Okay, so this might also be a sort of like a part-time job when you have a full-time job on the side. Electrician also gets paid between $30 to $50 an hour. Tutorial for night school students. So I saw this one. You're the type that probably you tend to know how to teach a particular course, like you really understand a course, maybe maths, English, literature, or any course like that. You can be a tutor and can get paid $25 an hour and above. Another one will be call center jobs. You're the type that likes to talk a lot, or you have experience back in your home country where you did like customer service. You can also pick up this kind of job, and you can get paid between $15 to $20 an hour. Another one will be language teachers. Canada is a multicultural environment, and when people give birth, they tend not to be able to have time to teach their children language and the like. So yeah, if you are the type that understand language, you can also do this, and it's quite interesting because it's just you teaching someone else how to speak a language that you are very familiar with. You can be paid between $20 and above an hour. Barbers, hairstylists, makeup artists, they tend to be paid about $19 an hour and above. And I know people tend to ask me this question: am I able to be a barber or hairstylist or makeup artist even as a student? I think you should be able to do that, and I don't know for a fact, but I think you should be able to do that. All you need to do is to be able to maintain the required number of hours that you are entitled to as someone that is holding a temporary status in Canada. Another one is being a server. So just as the bartender, might be paid about minimum wage, of which this one, an average I saw about $15 an hour, but then you make a lot of money from your tips. Another one will be campus jobs, research assistant, library assistant. They get to be paid $22 an hour. I don't know if you know this already, but if you get a job on campus, your hours are not registered, meaning you can work for as long as you like, and the number of hours is not really recorded, meaning you can work on campus for as long as you want and still hold a 20 hours job outside. And I'm saying 20 hours because that is what you'll still do if you did not apply for your visa or if you were not approved before October 7th 2022. Okay, so the immigration rule of working more than 20 hours only applies to those people, and you may not be eligible if you don't fall into that category. Another one will be summer job. I love this one because last year 2022 summer I got a job with the Ministry of Immigration in their corporate services department, and I made a video on that, so I'll probably link it up here, or you can check it out, or I'll leave it in the description box for you. I shared how I was able to get the job, and you know how I was able to combine that job and another job on the side, because like I said, during summer people work as long as they like because that's the only time that you can. And also there's something to also point out here: not all schools give that eligibility for you to be able to work for as long as you like during summer. There's some schools that do not open that up for students, so you want to double check with your department or your school to be sure that you are eligible to be able to work for more than 20 hours during summer. This one, lifeguards. You must have proper training though. You must have a license. Lifeguards are usually responsible for the safety and supervision of people in a pool or a beach. Certifications can be first aid, CPR training, Bronze Cross. So those are the kind of certifications that you might need. Usually this lifeguard jobs pays about $20 an hour and above. And like I said, it also depends on the agency you are working with or the people you're working with. You could be paid higher, and it also depends on the province. So just know that this is like an average amount that you will be paid, and it's subject to be higher. Another one is babysitting. Usually pays minimum wage. It also depends on the family. Some families can be so gracious to pay you higher, but usually you're paid minimum wage. If you're the type that just loves to take care of kids and you have ample time, you just want to make extra money on the side, you can do that as well. Just babysit and get paid. For this one, you can apply through an agency such that you are working with an agency, and whenever they need people, they tend to reach out to the agency, and then you tend to go take care of the family's kid or baby or babies. Or sometimes you might also maybe just tell people around that you are doing this job. Wow, I still have a long list, and I'm still talking about in-person jobs. Fast food stores, like those eat-outs like Tim Hortons, like I mentioned earlier, A&W, Starbucks, these kind of jobs, they provide lunch for you. Interestingly, they also provide like work sponsorship towards your PR. So if you stay with them for like maybe a number of years, maybe 1 or 2 years or so, you must have signed the agreement if you want to be a part of it. They would help you process your provincial nomination and the like. So it depends. Just when you come into Canada, you can walk into those stores, ask them this question. But I know that they tend to do things like this. Lunch is like an incentive, and also the work sponsorship that I mentioned. Grocery stores, some of them also do that work sponsorship, but you also want to confirm as well. If you are maybe a customer service person, a grocery attendant, you'll be paid minimum wage job, sometimes higher, and sometimes those minimum wage jobs, they tend to progress as time goes on. So if you started on minimum wage, by the next year when the province increases their minimum wage, they tend to increase your wage as well. So it's not that you keep getting minimum wage till forever. No, it increases as time goes on. A gym receptionist also responsible for managing new members, checking in guests, and also cleaning gym equipment. Most gyms can even offer discounted or free gym membership to this kind of employees. So they usually get paid $15 and above. So if you are a gym enthusiast and you don't mind working in a gym and you want to work as a receptionist and admin person, this is also a job that you can look out for. I've made a video on how to design or develop your resume. I'm going to also leave it here or leave it in the description box for you. So check it out so that you're able to tailor your resume accordingly to the job posting, and so that you can see the kind of job sites to apply for these jobs, because I know that I didn't mention it at the beginning, but that's also something to note. This one, store greeters. There are people that stand at the entrance of every store, every organization, just greet people, just welcome you into the store. These people are also paid minimum wage jobs. So if this is something that you want to also do, you go for it. Those information that I just shared are information for in-person job, that is jobs where you have to be there in person in order for you to deliver the task. So I'm going to be moving now to online jobs for students. I have a couple of them, about 7. The first one on my list will be freelancer, proofreader, editor. So you can get this kind of jobs on Upwork or Fiverr. I'm sure you guys are familiar with it, but if not, I'll just write the name on the screen for you. If you know that you're the type that knows how to correct grammars, punctuation, you have eye for detail and good at writing, this is something that I want to sign up for. They get paid on the average $24 and above per hour. Another one will be online tutor. If you like teaching, especially STEM, that's courses related to mathematics, engineering, all of those kind of science courses. You'll need a degree for this though, like sometimes at least college degree or teaching certificate, and you'll be paid on the average $20 to $25 an hour. These ones are online jobs. Another one will be translators. If you can speak and you can read and you can write in 2 or more languages, you want to sign up for this one because it's a highly sought after skill. Canada is a bilingual country and they tend to speak English and French as their primary languages. So if you can speak French very well, there are so many customer agencies, so many translating agencies that will need your services, and you might be paid $27 to $30 an hour. That is even mind-blowing. Another one would be freelance graphic designer. If you're the type that knows how to design logos for companies or adverts for magazines, or just design generally, you want to, personally I would say that you should start by doing some few designs for your class, for a department, just volunteer, maybe in church, even in like NGOs, just so that people tend to start knowing you, and before you know it, you start getting referrals. You can be paid on the average $27 and above an hour. That is also very good for a student. Another one will be social media marketing. In this day and age where social media is like the big thing, the big deal, I'll personally say that you should utilize your social media skill and presence. If you are one of those people that have huge followings online, and brands will definitely be looking for people like that to help them grow their audience, to help them direct traffic on their sites and the likes, and they get paid a lot, sometimes up to $25 an hour and above, for just doing something that you love to do. Content writing, content creation, you can be paid $25 an hour. People need your marketing skills. People need your ability to like develop strategies to grow audiences and the likes. A lot of organizations are looking for that. You know how to write good content, please sign up for this. Another one will be web developer, web designer. Something I'm trying to remember right now, I know, like, yeah, UX UI designs. If you have those certificates, I want to consider this as well, and can be paid minimum of $25 an hour and even above, depending on how huge, how big the organization you're working with is. So let's go to likely interview questions that can be asked during your interview. First and foremost, depending on these jobs, if they are like office jobs, please dress accordingly. If it's like a store, you also want to dress accordingly, because even though they accept jeans and maybe blouses and not necessarily shirts, you still want to dress in a way that you look presentable. One of the most important questions that everyone, even for a corporate job, for a full-time job rather, would get is, tell us about yourself. Tell me about you. Let us know you. All those kind of questions. Be ready to let them know you, not necessarily you being the firstborn, you being from Nigeria or whatever country you're from. It's just basically like telling them about your experiences, how they're relevant to this job and all of that. So just try to go online and learn how to answer questions like this. Another one that I can remember would be, how do you know you are suitable for this job? Also be ready to give answers to this question. Another very easy one would be, how long have you been in Canada? You explain to them how long you've been in Canada. And that would be, can you work legally? Mostly you should be able to work legally, and that would also have been put on your study permit at the border. When you land, usually they'll give you a study permit, and to be stated there that you can work with any employer. Some can say that you can only work on campus. So you want to double check that before you accept it from the immigration officer at the border. Another question that you might be asked would be, can you work any day of the week or just weekends? I find out that when you're applying for part-time job, they tend to ask you this question because they need people that can fit into any schedule. My first job in Canada, when I applied for the job, they called me and I told them I can only work weekends. I never got a response back, so I had to reapply for the job, and I mentioned that I will be available any day, anytime, and I got called upon. So what you do is, after telling them that you can work with them any day, anytime, get into the organization first, start getting those shifts and start going for the shifts. I understand that it might not be easy for you because it might be clashing with some other tasks that you have, but after a month or so, you can start talking to your manager, your supervisor, so that they will help you adjust your schedule. And sometimes you can also find that you would see a colleague that might also need your hours and you need another person's hours. So just get into the organization first is what I always tell people, because if you tell them that you can only work weekends, they most likely will not call you back. Most of the time they won't. Another question that I know that people also get would be, are you able to start immediately? If they ask you this question, please say yes. It's a part-time job, it's not a full-time job. If it's a full-time job, you can tell them, oh, I need 2 weeks, to be able to tell my current employer. But for part-time job, most times you don't even have any job, and if you do, maybe you want to supplement a part-time job for summer, just tell them that you're available to start immediately. You can always find a way around these things, okay? Because if you tell them you are not able to start immediately, they'll move on to the next student that is available and that can give them their own time. I wanted to share this because I know that every time I talk about getting jobs in Canada, I've not really been able to sit down and tell you the kind of jobs that you can get and also salary range that you can get. But right now I've done this video for you, and I've also given you extra tip, which is likely interview questions that you can meet, and also how to answer some of these questions. And I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, let me know in the comment section, and also let me know other questions that you would love to see in the comment section. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye guys.